The topic I'm going to talk about today is strategic risk management. My presentation will take approximately 10 minutes, so if you have any questions, I would love to answer them in the end of the presentation. Thank you. So, at the beginning of my presentation, I will define risk management, strategic risk, and strategic risk management respectively. Afterwards, I will explain what is hierarchy of risk, then I will mention the methods will help us to avoid risk. And consistently, I will clarify the principles necessary to be able to apply all these methods. And in the next graph, I will describe 5 steps of becoming effective. Thus, I will conclude my presentation. So, Oxford Dictionary defines risk as the possibility of something bad happening at some time in the future, or a situation that would be dangerous or have a bad result. Also, Turkish Language Society defines risk as a person or thing that is likely to cause problem or danger at some time in the future. So, what is risk management? Risk management is the identification, evaluation, and prioritization of risks. With another saying, it's maximizing the realization of opportunities. So, what is strategic risk? Strategic risks are risks that a company takes that could potentially result in a major loss. A company that has high and unmatched production process will still uphold if its customer no longer wants its products. This was a lesson that was learned by even the most efficient buggy whip maker once Henry Ford introduced his Model T in 1998 and was a game changer in the United States. Cell phone handset manufacturer faced with a similar crisis when the Apple iPhone arrived on the scene by Steve Jobs. In summary, strategic risk refers to the internal and external events that may make it difficult or even impossible for an organization to achieve their objectives and strategic goals. Strategic risk management is a process of identifying, measuring, and mitigating the factors that influence a company's execution of the business strategy and strategic objectives. These risks may include competitive pressure, legal and regulatory change, shifts in customer demand and preferences, merger integration, unification, technological change, senior management zero, and stakeholder pressure. So now that we have basic understanding what is risk management, strategic risk, and strategic risk management, let's discuss what is hierarchy of risk. As you can see, in the top piece of pyramid, strategic decisions from the smallest plus most critical part. As you can see in the top side, this is like smaller part of the pyramid, but also it's important because strategic decisions create strategic risks. And if you go a little bit down, strategic transferring strategy into action creates program risk. And if you go a little bit more down, you can see that decisions required for implementation creates project and operational risk, which is like a bigger part of the pie. So strategic decisions are very important. It's like smallest part, but also connected with all other parts. It's connected with bigger parts. So we should always be part in the decision process. So what are the good methods to manage it? Well, at first, we should identify the threats. Afterwards, assess the vulnerability of critical assets to specific threats. We should determine the risk, identify ways to reduce those risks, and we should prioritize risk reduction measures. You can see the principles in the screen. So we should create a value. And after, we should be an integral part of organization process. We should explicitly address uncertainty and assumptions. We should be a part of decision making. As I said before, it's related with all other part of the pyramid. So we should always be in the decision making process. We should be a systematic and structured process, and should be based on the best available information, and we should be tailorable. So we all have like perfect ideas for our business, but it should be tailorable. Like we should be sure that we can do it in the real business type, real process. And we should always take care of human factors into account, because humans and workers are not a robot, and we should be transparent and inclusive, and we should be dynamic and responsive to change. So this is very important for me because according to my experience, I was doing my internship in agricultural factory, And the factory was very successful actually, but at the same time, their potential was bigger, but they never reached that potential because it was a family company, and in their decision they never follow the management things or 5S methods. Just our boss just put the 5S methods in the wall to show that in this company they are using, but for example, I did my internship in production department, and our production manager has too many ideas to do it, but there were always some problems with the owners, because also this is important. The owners should change their idea. They should change it. They should read articles and they should adapt this. Okay. So let's continue with the 5 steps. We should define business strategy and objectives. And second, establish key performance indicators to measure results. Third, identify risks that can drive variability in performance. These are unknowns such as future customer demand that will determine results. And fourth, establish key indicators and tolerance levels for critical risks, and at least provide integrated reporting and monitoring. So in conclusion, risk management helps you to identify, manage, and ultimately control risks. It helps you to reduce exposure, so risk management helps your company to be more proactive. As one of the most successful investor and entrepreneur in the history, Warren Buffett says, risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. So you should always be in the decision process. So you can see my resources here, and this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.